My amplified unit, top of the morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Salute, wake up, get amplified, put them up, get the delts rocking, crush this weekend. It's early in the morning, we got a flight to catch, so this SmackDown review has to be a little quicker, and BC's wrestling reviews and quick do not go hand in hand. Usually I start talking about pro wrestling and we're off to the races, man. I got a lot to say. There's a lot to dissect. Nobody in this community is going to do it correctly, so BC's got to do it. That's what we're going to do, man. You're going to get this full throttle SmackDown review, I assure you, for January 20th, 2023. Just now, on this Saturday morning, just 2 days away from Raw 30. And as it stands, 1 week away from the Royal Rumble. So this was a big SmackDown. You could easily say that BC this morning is happier than a pig in shit. Or we would have to say a huskus pig in shit, if you know what I'm talking about. Bray Wyatt. My boy is back with the Firefly Funhouse. If you're newer to the channel, you don't know why BC is happy about this, excited about this. It's because this is a pro Bray Wyatt channel. If you're newer, now you know. If that upsets you, I hear you. If you got to go somewhere else, sucks, but I hear you. You know, safe travels. But this has always been a pro Bray Wyatt channel because I appreciate the genius of this guy. He's always been booked correctly, I felt, and the audience has felt. The ratings, the metrics, the numbers, the trending, viewership on platforms like this. Wyatt has always been number one for the most part for his booking. From Vince McMahon even, because Vince lets him do most of his stuff and Vince just has to sign off on it. It's when he gets to the big matches that Vince fucks up, right? Goldberg, Super Showdown, Hell in a Cell, Seth Rollins, WrestleMania, losing to one RKO from Randy Orton. The big matches is where Vince fucked him up. The booking, the Firefly Funhouse, you may not like it. That's fine. That's in the eye of the beholder. But that's it. Ratings-wise, it crushes it. Knocks it out of the park. All of his characters, from The Fiend to the fucking Wyatt family, anything in between. This guy has always knocked it out of the park, and the stories have always engaged most of the fan base. So whether you like it or not, it wouldn't even matter because the metrics and the numbers are all telling that company that they are fucking rocking with this. And BC absolutely loves it. It's different. It's a character, man. A character I can give a shit about. A lot of people say it's so slow. We don't know who Howdy is. It's all over the place. It's chaotic. Exactly what Bray Wyatt and anything he's involved in should be. And if you don't understand it, that sucks. I don't have the time right now to explain it all. But it's pretty self-explanatory to BC what is happening in the Pitch Black match. He wants LA Knight to know that nothing is off the table. And everything that he thought he knew about Wyatt, he knows nothing at all. And what he thought was gone from Wyatt, it all could be there Saturday night. I just fucking love it. I'm happier than a huskus pig and shit. My boy's back with his Firefly Funhouse. I love this shit. It's fucking wacky. It's zany. It's everything I want in my pro wrestling. And that's what we grew up loving in pro wrestling, man. That's what we grew up. That and storytelling, right? Characters, you need both to have a successful show. Characters and storytelling. You look at what happened with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn last night. From the fist bump being fucking nullified at the beginning of the show. By the middle of the show, the heart-to-heart with Roman and Sami after he was kicked out 2 segments earlier. And Paul telling him the tribal chief will now see you again. He comes back into the office. They have a heart-to-heart. They get the fist bump. And then by the end of the night, Sami was too late saving Roman. And the way that Paul was looking at him is like, you motherfucker, you're going to pay for that. The storytelling just last night alone. Wow. And it's everything BC preaches. You start off with it. They're showing up in the limo in the Escalade. And then all of a sudden, you go back every segment. And there's a layer to the story backstage in Roman's locker room. Or when Sami got kicked out in the hallway and Paul's got to talk to him. Tell him, Roman, we'll see you again. To the end of the night where you built to it. And now it's the contract signing. It was just done fucking beautifully. So you have these things of storytelling, which was done immaculately, in character development. And again, whether you like the Bray shit or not, that's eye of the beholder. Doesn't even matter. Do you know there was 2 names last night trending at the top of the trending list on social? It was Bray Wyatt and it was The Fiend. So you may not like it, you're going to cry, you're going to bitch and moan that the Firefly Funhouse is back, and you thought this was going to go a different way. But you know what? There ain't many, if any, human beings that have two of their characters trending at the top of the worldwide list at the same time. I don't remember Tom Cruise having his Top Gun character and Jerry Maguire double trending at the top. I don't remember Arnold Schwarzenegger and his Jingle All the Way character and Terminator trending at the top. Sylvester Stallone and Rocky and Rambo trending at the top. No, Wyndham Rotunda last night had Bray Wyatt and The Fiend trending at the top of the worldwide trend lists. Yeah, and I told you all the time, the ratings, the metrics, the numbers, the viewership on platforms like this, Bray's always at the top, or at least damn near. That's what he does. He just brings in numbers. He just moves needles all day. That's all. You bring in Bray, he's just a needle mover. It's what he does. And I always appreciated his booking, by the way. Vince always booked him correctly because Bray got to do his own shit. Vince just had to sign off on it. So it was the big matches where Vince screwed Bray, right? Goldberg Super Showdown. Randy Orton winning 1 RKO at WrestleMania. Hell in a Cell, Seth Rollins. You know, those are the matches that helped to ruin Bray Wyatt. You can't bury Bray, he's too good. But it ruined everything you were trying to build. The big matches, but the booking has always been immaculate. Firefly Funhouse is kick-ass, man. It doesn't matter your age range. It's wacky, it's zany, it's everything we fell in love with pro wrestling for. Larger-than-life characters and storylines we give a shit about. And you can't find that in pro wrestling today. You can't do it. Monday nights, absolute shit. Literally, you could take Monday Night Raw and throw it into the garbage. You wouldn't even notice the next Monday. And I know that upsets the WWE fans that love Monday Night Raw. And you say that BC is so angry and negative about Monday nights. I've been that way for years. And even if it's a good show, I'm not going to change. That's bullshit. If it's a good show, you're going to hear about it. Monday nights suck. Basically, you hate Monday nights. You don't even like Monday nights, period, I bet. I've heard that before. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, on my calendar, I just cross off Monday nights. Oh, I can't stand Monday nights. Do you even listen to your fucking self? It's a bad show. It needs to be rectified. There's nothing on Monday nights that has you on the edge of your seat. There's no storyline. Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, always facing each other some way. Or they have to face an obstacle just to get to the U.S. title, which is one of them. For 7 months, we've been seeing this. 7 months. And you're telling me that after 7 months, you're at the edge of your seat over what's going to happen, who's going to get the title, Bobby, Austin, or Seth? No. And that's all Monday nights even got going on. I mean, it's in a pathetic state, and it has been for 10 years. But the last 7 months, I don't even, it's just fallen off the rails even fucking more, and I don't know how to put that shit back. Well, I do. Nobody in that company knows how to put that show back on the rails. And then you go to Wednesday nights and the AEW flag bearers, who claim that AEW is the best show on television. AEW, every single Wednesday night, AEW produces their best Dynamite ever. Every Wednesday night is excellent, flawless, perfect, amazing, awesome. I mean, that's literally what we hear every Wednesday night. And BC's watching these shows, and I'm going, well, it was decent. I mean, you had no storytelling. MJF and Bryan Danielson is your top story, supposedly, and it's the same you got to go through an obstacle every week just to get to me storyline that we see all the time from my boy MJF. There's nothing that is leaving you needing to tune into Wednesday next week. You just get your bangers, right? And you get your fucking 87 This Is Awesome chants every single Wednesday. Every match gets 12 separate This Is Awesome chants. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of the crew, right? Everything's awesome to these people. Morning coffee, $47. Awesome. Hand over your fucking wallet. There's $47 for a cup of coffee. You're not even going to question it. You're just going to say it's awesome, right? That's the AEW Wednesday night crowd. It's totally different than the Monday night WWE crowd, but they're both the same. Delusional. Your shows still fucking suck. You got nothing happening on Monday nights. On Wednesdays, at least you have your bangers. We didn't start watching pro wrestling to watch two dudes bounce around the fucking ring doing sequences and chain wrestling and flips and dives and near falls in their underwear. That's not what we do. If that's what you're watching pro wrestling for, like it's actual combat and it's a real sport, that's not pro wrestling, dude. You might want to go to collegiate wrestling, maybe. Maybe try your hand at UFC, watch that, maybe some boxing. But you're watching the wrong thing if you're crying about things like Bray Wyatt and the Firefly Funhouse, because that's the exact same shit why you got into wrestling. You didn't get into wrestling for the fucking chain wrestling and the sequences and the fucking flips and the dives and bangers. Fuck your bangers. And I'll show you, man. This isn't just BC's opinion. I don't like opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. They're usually full of shit. This is this Wednesday's diagram. Now, I showed you guys this in yesterday's video, and it pained me to do that. And it's going to pain me to do it again right now. But this is what happened Wednesday night. From the top of the show, 1.197. And by the end of the show, 867,000. Guys, during Wednesday night's Dynamite, they lost 300,000 plus viewers. During the live broadcast, over 300,000 viewers said goodbye. Can't remember the last time I've seen that, unless it's like a Monday night. And that's the 3-hour format. By the time you get to the 3-hour, there's times where you get a big drop off. People just have to go to bed. They have these things called jobs, or they got to go to school. And they're watching a 3-hour shit fest like Monday Night Raw. But on a 2-hour show, it's very rare that you see over 300,000 viewers check out. Now, sadly, I've seen that a lot with Dynamite. A lot. But recently, I've been seeing this weird thing and hearing this weird thing that every Wednesday night is the best Dynamite that they've produced. And that's just wrong, because there's been some really good Dynamites, and that's throwing shade at those and slapping them in the face. You can't say things like that. I'm hearing that these Dynamites lately are excellent. They're flawless and they're perfect. But that's a bunch of horse shit, right? That's a bunch of bullshit. In a nutshell, there's no easy way to say that. It's a bunch of horse shit. It's a bunch of bullshit. Because this diagram shows you that fans are like, yeah, I'm out. And then more fans are like, I'm out. And then a little come back to see what's up. Should I stick around? I gave you a second chance. And then they fall back. That's fucking bad, guys. That's not good at all. Right? You want a consistent show. I showed you this yesterday right after that AEW Wednesday diagram. This was just from this past Wednesday, that diagram. Now I'm going to show you this past Friday, last Friday's diagram. Now, this is how a show is supposed to look, a straight line, or as straight as possible. You want to keep your audience, keep it consistent, and by the end of the night, you want that fucking final Q8 segment to be more than your Q1 segment, right? The hope is at the start of the show, you brought in enough people or got them interested enough to see the end of your show. It's not that hard to understand, guys. It's like any hour-long drama that you would watch or any of your favorite television shows. You would want to see the climax of the show. You couldn't imagine starting an episode of your favorite show and then leaving during the middle of it or at the start of it, right? That means it's not a good episode. It's not a good show. I hope you guys are understanding. This isn't just big, bad, mean, angry, negative BC attacking Raw and Dynamite. No, I'm telling you, the numbers suck. I'd give you fucking more emphatic numbers for Raw if they were available, because it's 3 hours. It's much harder to get info like that on quarterlies, but it's not good, guys. And there's one show right now that's putting pro wrestling on their back, and that is SmackDown, and that's not fair to them. You know, the wrestling world, not just WWE, is going to have to step the fuck up and alleviate some of the pressure, because when so much weight is on someone's back for so long, their back is going to crack. It's the same thing with SmackDown in the business world here for pro wrestling. That back of SmackDown will start to crack because they've been holding pro wrestling on it for fucking so long. At some point, WWE Raw and Dynamite are going to have to step up. Raw has to just change everything. Dynamite just has to include storylines and larger-than-life characters. And then you can have a couple bangers every Wednesday. Deal? Can we meet in the middle? But until we do that, fuck your bangers. I hate the word. On this channel, it's banned unless we're mocking it, making fun of the word bangers, because I can't stand it. It's overused. Nobody even knows what it means, and bangers are what's helping to kill pro wrestling. another banger. And we watch 4 or 5 of them on a Wednesday night, and then we go on social and talk about how amazing a show was when they lost over 300,000 viewers during the show. And I'm the only honest motherfucker on the platform that's going to tell you, clearly the show didn't work. But instead, those fans are going to cry about Bray Wyatt being horrible when Bray Wyatt and The Fiend were double trending worldwide last night at the top of the list. Wyndham Rotunda had 2 of his characters trending at the top, but he's not working. His ratings, you see the fucking rate. I showed you that chart of SmackDown, right? You see that Q5, the top of second hour. Q4 is the dip for the ladies. H knew this. Vinnie Mac knew this. So who do they put to save the day in Q5? There's Bray. It was only a 3-minute promo, by the way. So it was enough, though, to create a buzz on social. People had to tune in because they heard Bray was speaking. By the time they tuned in, Bray was already off the air, though. And you see that with Q6, right? Q6 has such a good lead-in from the Bray Wyatt fucking buzz. That's what Bray Wyatt does. He's a needle mover. He's just a natural-born needle mover. And when you're polarizing like that, you got the big fans like BC so happy to see the Firefly Funhouse back because it's awesome. It's awesome. Everything is awesome. And then you have the anti-Wyatters, I guess, that everything this guy does is so amazing that they can't stand it. They have to speak positively about it, and they don't want to. No, I just want to see bangers. This is not pro wrestling, this Firefly Funhouse. But they're okay seeing 16 Canadian destroyers from the top rope, 17 super kicks, 12 pedigrees, 18 Wardlow bombs, a fucking 45-minute locked-in sharpshooter, and then a couple of Shining Wizards, maybe. Couple more super kicks, and then we'll end it with another Canadian destroyer, and the guy will kick out at 2.5. And then he'll no-sell it because he's got to get up after taking all of those moves because he has to do his own spot. You're okay with that. That's not exposing pro wrestling. But the thing that was built, WWE, what we all fell in love with wrestling, I mean, he can't be that much older than Vince McMahon taking over WWE. So the wrestling that we fell in love with is exactly the fucking Bray Wyatt. Maybe you got too old and you grew out of it, so now you won't even let anybody that loves that shit enjoy it. You say it's just for kids, so you won't even let kids enjoy it, but you started probably watching as a kid. Maybe you got old and you just fell out of love with it, right? I mean, if you don't like what Bray's doing in the whole Fiend shit, you got to start to question, is this still for you? For BC, pro wrestling will always be in my blood. That's an eternity. I'll always love this shit, and I'll always try to make it better with my words. It might come across as negative, but I'm passionate about it. I'm amplified about it. I love pro wrestling. I'm not just gonna fall out of love with it. It doesn't matter my age. I'm always gonna love this shit. Maybe you just fell out of love with it, and watching a couple dudes in their underwear bounce around and doing flip and dives, maybe that's the end of the road for you. After a couple of years, tops, of you yelling, everything's a banger, everything is awesome, I'm sure you're going to get old and stale of it. I don't know how much longer this banger crowd can keep going with this bullshit. I really don't. I mean, we are being bangered into the fucking oblivion at this point. Pro wrestling is dying because of these banger matches. You got nothing left for the pay-per-view. You're seeing fucking 5-6 bangers every fucking show. What's going to happen at the pay-per-view? People are not even understanding, man. Pro wrestling is way more than this banger shit. Take your bangers, roll it up into a fucking ball, shove it up your fucking ass. I don't even care if you shine it up real nicely. Fuck your bangers. Last night's SmackDown showed you yet again, you do not need bangers to produce a good show. Dynamite produces bangers and they lose over 300,000 viewers. This had character development, larger than life characters and storylines. And I'm not even calling this an immaculate show, by the way. A lot of this was filler. This was a tag team tournament filler show. So for BC to be singing its praises tells you that the storylines were that fucking good. Again, I don't have a lot of time. The cold open was supposed to be a few minutes. We went nearly fucking 20. I do have to catch a flight, so we have to kind of breeze by this, guys. That sucks because every segment I could easily spend 10 minutes on it. But BC has a big weekend ahead, so we got to get this rocking, man. The show starts with the Bloodline entering the arena in 2 separate vehicles, a limo and a black SUV, possibly an Escalade, I believe. Sami is hyped when he gets out. He tries fist bumping Roman. Roman is like, brah, I'm about to put you through that cement wall if you don't get your fist out of my face. Roman was not having it. Brings you back to the day. There was a couple of awesome pictures floating around where years ago, Sami Zayn was trying to fist bump Roman Reigns in the locker room, and Roman was just giving that face like, dude, I'm about to put you through that locker room wall. Here we are years later in the Bloodline. Sami's trying the same shit. Roman's not having it. He just walks the fuck off. I thought that was a simplistic, good way to start the show. They could have just went into the first tag team tournament match. Drew and Sheamus versus the Viking Raiders. But no, they started with limos coming into the arena, right? Get the suspense building. Oh shit, Roman is in the building. There's already tension there with Sami. All right, I got to put the remote down. I got to see where this is going, right? Simplistic. Only took a minute, but that's how you start a show. And if you do it correctly, I preach this all the time, guys. You keep going back to it every segment or every 2 segments, and you keep building the story. And at the end of the night, you end with a segment of those people involved in the story, and you culminate it. And then you leave a cliffhanger for the next week. It's not rocket science. This is the formula of pro wrestling that we all fell in love with, but somehow a lot of you guys lost your way. We evolved, BC. We didn't lose our way. Okay, that's fine, but you still have to have the basic fundamentals, the core of pro wrestling. That can never change. Otherwise, pro wrestling is no longer on life support. It's just DOA. You can't have that shit. So I love that start, man. First matchup of the night is Drew and Sheamus, as aforementioned, versus the Viking Raiders. Viking Raiders have the legendary rock band Van Halen in their corner. I love that band, man. Formerly known as Sarah Logan. Eric and Ivar both sporting armbands that read "Dem Boys" for Jay Briscoe. So cool to see, man. I don't want to get in. I spoke so much about Jay Briscoe, and it's so cool, and it was different. You know, it wasn't just like Briscoes, right? You know, see Dem Boys. That was they have history. For those of you that don't know, by the way, it's not just because it's a tag team and they're honoring them. Viking Raiders have absolute history with the Briscoes. You might want to jump into that if you have free time. Pretty cool. Michael Cole was awesome. Start of the match mentions the tragic accident of Jay Briscoe and sends condolences to Briscoe and his family, and mentions that many of the wrestlers will be showing their support possibly throughout the night. So Michael Cole mentioning that at the top, that was really nice. It would have been cool to see a graphic, by the way. WWE, I understand they don't need to do that because they have no ties to Jay. I get it, but it would have been cool to see a graphic. And then you give a mention, and I think we're good, you know. But they didn't do the graphic. If they did do the graphic, they would have done as much as AEW Dynamite. How sad is that? And that's Tony Khan's tag team champion for ROH, Jay Briscoe. So maybe H threw him a fucking bone here, right? Because if he put that graphic up, wow, the wrestling world would be like, wait, WWE just did more than AEW Dynamite. Fuck the tribute shows that are being filmed afterwards that you can watch. You got to find on YouTube or something. No, it should have been done live on Dynamite, a tribute, but Warner Media won't allow it. What scumbags, even after he passes, you're going to treat this dude and his family like that? Scumbags. Impact Wrestling, I am hearing, gave a better tribute. NXT on Tuesday night had the fucking balls in the moral compass to actually mention that during their live broadcast. They pulled the New Day that was supposed to be in a funeral segment. Shawn Michaels took it upon himself to change that up. I mean, all these wrestling companies went above and beyond. AEW couldn't even fucking do a video package or a 10-bell salute or something on Wednesday night. No. But off of Time Warner Media, Warner Media, we're going to do a tribute show and we'll put it on YouTube or something. We promise. Unreal. I'm still fucking pissed about that. Anyway, so cool to see Michael Cole acknowledge my boy Jay Briscoe. Much love and respect always to Briscoe and his family, of course, in the battle that they're currently in. From announcing it live on air during NXT Tuesday, just hours after the exit, to this acknowledgement last night. Very classy by the E. Can't believe I'm saying that, man. Very classy. Match time for this tag team match between Drew, Sheamus, and the Viking Raiders is 20 minutes. It was good. It was physical. Sheamus hits the bro kick on Ivar for the pin. I get that Drew and Sheamus weren't losing, but damn, the Viking Raiders could have used that W, guys. They really could have used a win. There's still just not a reason to get behind them, and they lose all the time. But it was rough. It was rough to see him lose. Backstage, Sami Zayn is in Roman's locker room, and he asks Roman if everything is okay because he felt that handshake earlier was cold when he tried to do the fist bump and got denied. So he's asking Roman if everything's good. So Roman says, "What's really on your mind, Sami? Open up. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. What are you thinking?" Because Roman's saying that you're hiding something. So Sami tells Roman the truth. He says he felt slighted last week when he was about to put away KO by the Tribal Chief's orders, and the Usos just ruined it. He felt slighted. He didn't know the plan. He didn't even know the Usos were showing up. He felt slighted. And then he says, maybe it was just me. I got Kevin Owens in my ear telling me that you guys are just using me and you're going to turn on me. And that's when Roman's expression just turned. And he was like, "Get out." He said, "Get out." He says, "Get out. I'm not going to do this every week, Sami. The Tribal Chief has to run every plan by the honorary Us now? Is that what I have to do? My every plan has to be run by you? Just get out. Go hang with your new friend, Kevin. Just get out." Totally manipulating Sami Zayn, playing mind games with this dude. And he kicks Sami Zayn out. We'll go back to this story several times throughout the night, which is how you correctly build a storyline. I preach this all the time. It was done beautifully. But for now, he's booted from Roman, the Tribal Chief's locker room. Next, we go to LA Knight out next. Great promo on Bray Wyatt, I should say, by LA Knight. Dude says, "Whether pitch black or broad daylight, I will on your off switch in a second." Just like that. Yeah. Loved fucking LA Knight, man. "Whether pitch black or broad daylight, I will on your off switch just like that." Yeah. Fucking LA Knight, dude. Then he annihilates local jobber fuckwad Fred in about 20 seconds. So LA Knight, quick little match. And then it happened, man. The return of the Firefly Funhouse. Talk to him, BC. Well, this is the deal, guys. First of all, you see Bray Wyatt trying to put together the Firefly Funhouse again. It was burnt down, totally demolished, and now he's resurrecting it. He's got the fucking plumber's crack going as he's bent over trying to fucking put in the final nails. I loved it. And then he gets up and he welcomes everybody back. Everybody's dusting themselves off. Ramblin' Rabbit is dusting himself. Husks the pig. Abby the Witch is like, "Fuck." Like, we're back. I love it, man. Everybody, Ramblin' Rabbit talks about how he's scared, and then Bray has a heart-to-heart. Like, sometimes it's okay to be scared, right? And he starts talking about LA Knight, and he's like, "What kind of loony bin calls himself Los Angeles Knight?" BC popped on that, bro. Bray Wyatt says, "What kind of loony bin calls themselves Los Angeles Knight, LA Knight?" That got a pop from BC. And then we went to the Uncle Howdy stuff, man. Uncle Howdy started coming in with his fucking message, and it cuts back to Bray, and Bray is now serious. It's no longer like the happy, chipper Firefly Funhouse Bray. And he's got a direct message to LA Knight. You kept pushing and kept pushing till that door was open. Now, it's not on me, basically. It's not on me of what comes through that door, what walks out of that door. It was you that pushed it open. I fucking love the message. Paraphrasing, obviously. I got a flight to catch. I got to run by this, so I don't have the actual... I would advise you guys to go back and check it out because it was fucking awesome. Awesome! I'll take that over a banger any fucking day. I'll tell you that much. Character development is sadly... not utilized in today's pro wrestling. I was just on the edge of my seat for that one, man. I was just like, it leaves you wanting more, is what it does, right? Everybody complains it's so short. It leaves you wanting more. I used to say this about the Firefly Funhouse on Monday nights. Monday nights were so fucking bad that I meant this, by the way. You could give me an entire hour on a 3-hour Raw of just the Firefly Funhouse. Not only would I be entertained, but it would probably still be the best part of fucking Raw. A full hour of Firefly Funhouse. Not probably. It would be the best part of Raw. So, I'll easily keep Echoing those same sentiments, this was one of the best parts of SmackDown easily, man. It's one of those things where you just want more. There's so much there that you can utilize, and Bray is so genius, so brilliant. You just, when it goes over, so you're just kind of like, fuck, I want more, you know? Man, I can't say enough praise in that serious look. And then he cuts into, okay, bye, see you next time. And the Firefly Funhouse theme song fucking takes us off. And it cuts to LA Knight in the ring, and now he's even more confused. What the fuck? Now the Funhouse is, but what, is the Fiend also coming? But now I got fucking Uncle Howdy to deal with, which you said you were not, and then you said you are, but I know he's a different person because I saw it with my own eyes. Now you're talking about the fucking Fiend coming back. Now you got this split personality between you, Bray, and your fucking Firefly Funhouse chipper personality. I don't even know what to think. LA Knight is fucking Fruit Looped at this point. He's probably caught the nearest fucking flight, the fastest flight out of town. Who knows if he even shows up at the Rumble at this point. I mean, he was so mind-fucked by the end of that segment. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. And I love every second of it. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to cry about it. You just don't like what Wyatt does. You thought it was going to go differently. You want to book Bray Wyatt. You think you know better than Bray Wyatt. You're going to have to cry about it, man. At least be happy for BC. I'm getting what I fucking love. So can you just for a second, right? You always go, oh, BC is always negative. Well, I love this. Can you be happy for BC? Thank you. Appreciate it. And if you really don't like it that much, just turn the channel for that cue, for that segment, and then come back. All right? BC will tell you what happened, and everybody will be fine. All right? It's nothing to cry about. It's the number. He was trending. Two things were trending at the top last night, and it was both from Wyndham Rotunda, both of his characters, Bray Wyatt and The Fiend was both trending worldwide last night. So you may not like it, but it's captivating. That's the type of shit that I showed you the diagrams earlier. That's the shit that stays consistent and brings in more of an audience. That's the shit that keeps people interested and intrigued. Yeah, basically, 7-year-olds. Negative. The demos say that's absolutely false. The demos say it's age ranges across the board. That's how you keep a consistent rate. If it was just one demographic, it would be much more of a roller coaster, I assure you. No, people are engaged. It's a television show, guys. You're watching wrestling for actual real sport combat? That's weird. You're watching for bangers? That's weird. I mean, pro wrestling is larger than life characters, storylines, fucking wacky shit. I mean, this is what we fell in love with. You can't change the goal, but move the goalpost that much now, man. The fuck? There's evolution, and then there's just going backwards. You guys are trying to take it backwards with this banger shit. I'll take more fucking Bray Wyatt shit. Thanks. And then we go into a quick 3-minute tag team tournament match, the second one of the night. Hit Row defeats Garza and Humberto Los Lotharios via the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating Farut roll-up. You knew that was rearing its ugly head at some point, and there was the roll-up, guys. Hit Row moves on. Hit Row will now be taking on Drew and Sheamus next week in the semifinal. Hour 1 ends with the Cody Rhodes video package. Another one, man. Those things are getting really, really good and getting a lot of people hyped up for his return at Rumble. I know a lot of people were, on the fence. Should it have been announced? Even though we knew he was showing up and he was on some posters anyway. But should it announce it, or should they still keep it somewhat of a mystery and let it be a surprise? They announced it. The bottom line is these video packages are pretty fucking good, man. It gives you a good inside glimpse of literally just a glimpse of how much and how hard he had to go through and work towards just to get back to where he is now. Hour number 2, Charlie Flair starts the hour. Already her reaction is 50% at best of what it was at her Tampa Bay return just a couple of weeks ago. It's already at 50%, man. Detroit couldn't give two fucks about Charlie Flair last night. I told you it would only take a few weeks, tops, before we're playing the same Charlie on top of the world game. And it's going nowhere for the women's division, and there we are. Thankfully for Charlie and WWE, Sonya is great at getting natural heel heat, so Detroit let DeVille have it last night. You suck, Chance, you name it. So Charlie escaped on this one, but you can see her reaction from Detroit last night, and you match that with the reaction of Tampa Bay, and I think it was Memphis the following week, where people were still so excited to see her because she was gone for 7 months. That's what happens when you're gone for a while. They knew that. When Charlotte was asked why she gets booed so much a long time ago, several interviews she said this. She said it's because I wasn't gone long enough for them to miss me. That's delusional, because that's only going to get you a pop for a few weeks. And then it's going to be the same old shit as to why you're not getting over with the crowd. It's because there's a lack of care. Your booking has not been produced properly. Charlotte is delusional to think that the only reason we're not cheering her is because we didn't have a moment to miss her. That's wrong. She was right for 2 weeks, but that's going to wear off. It already wear it off for Detroit. Luckily, DeVille took a lot of that heat off of her, though. Pierce comes out to break up the tension. DeVille uses the distraction as a perfect time to deliver a cheap shot onto Charlie, and that just ends the segment. Backstage in Roman's locker room, Paul Heyman admits he never liked Sami Zayn. Huge part of the story because we've been seeing those looks lately. I never liked Sami Zayn from day one, but maybe, he tells Roman, Paul Heyman tells Roman, maybe it's better to have him in the castle pissing out than have him out of the castle pissing in. And Roman really takes that under consideration. Only Paul Heyman can put it like that. I don't like Sami Zayn, but maybe it's better to have him in the castle pissing out than out of the castle pissing in. In other words, maybe it's better because we have a contract signing. This is what he said, and this is going to be... listen to this, because this helps the storyline at the finish of the night. Paul tells Roman, because remember, Sami's not there. Sami got kicked out 2 segments earlier out of the locker room because he mentioned Kevin Owens. So Paul Heyman tells Roman, with the contract signing later tonight, maybe it's better to have Sami with us. And that's huge because remember, at the end of the night, Sami was late saving Roman. And you saw the look that Paul gave him. We'll get to that in a minute. So I just love how we keep going back every segment or two to carry this storyline out. It's what I've always preached, guys. This is how you carry out a really great story. Keep going back to it. Keep giving your audience reasons to care because it's the bulk of it's the show. And it gets better and better. And there's layers to it. And there's questions that arise, right? Keeps you engaged. Tag Team Tournament match, I believe this was number 3 on the night. Brawling Brutes versus Imperium. Vinci pins Holland off of the Imperium bomb. Backstage, we go back to this storyline. Paul Heyman walks up to Sami Zayn, who was sitting on an equipment box looking as just dejected as Mark Marrow finding out that he just lost his wife to Brock Lesnar. Sable. Yeah, that happened in real life. I'm pretty sure Mark was devastated when he lost Sable to Brock. Anyway, literally, if you looked at Sami's face, it was like he just lost Sable to Brock Lesnar, man. He was dejected beyond belief to amplified measures. So Heyman walks up to him, and he says, the tribal chief will see you now. And Sami fucking perks up as if he's about to get Sable back. She left Brock. She's coming back. Sami's like... I know what I got to do. I got to make it up to him, basically. He doesn't say that, but it's in the look. And he walks off, and Paul's just like, you just tell. The hamster is spitting in Paul's dome piece, bro. Funniest part of the night, hands down, was backstage. Shayna Baszler tried claiming that she's going to win the Royal Rumble. Lady, you just have to try lasting longer than 2 minutes in a match before being fruit roll-ups. Don't worry about winning the Rumble. That was a good laugh, man. Shayna Baszler. Winning the Rumble. That's going to happen. Tag tournament match. This was the 4th one of the night. LDF versus Triple M. 3 minutes. LDF collects the W. LDF will now take on Imperium in the semifinal next week. Massey's booty shorts, brah. Come on, man. You can't do that. Massey, you got to cut that out, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man. Backstage in Roman's locker room, a heart-to-heart between Roman and Sami, leading to Roman finally fist-bumping Zayn. Comes full circle, right? Came full circle. The top of the night, Roman wanted nothing to do with him. They have a little bit of a fight backstage, verbally. Sami gets kicked out. They have a heart-to-heart. We're boys again. I'll fist-bump you. It all came full circle as they get their ducks in a row for the contract signing that's next. And that would not go off as planned, unfortunately. Sami tells Roman, I'll do whatever you need. Just tell me, boss. Tell me, tribal chief. What can I do for you? He says, tell the Usos. Get the limos ready. Get the jets fucking fueled up. The second I sign that contract, we're out. Me, Solo, Paul, we're going to hit the ring. You just be on standby. Sami's like, I got this. I won't fuck this up. We go to the contract signing after a commercial break. Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. Roman is out there with Solo and Paul. KO hits the ring from the crowd, ambush style. Drops Solo, takes him right out of the ring. Stuns Roman. Literally, there's video of Roman like catching Kevin last second, so he jumps out of the seat. He walks right into a stunner. It's hilarious. So after he gets stunned, he then delivers a pop-up powerbomb to Roman through the contract table. Sami was the last one to hit the ring. The Usos actually beat him to the ring, and they got super kicked by Owens. Sami was the last one to hit the ring, but by then the contract was already signed. And Sami doesn't even get in the ring at first. He just looks at Owens. Owens takes the contract, throws it at Sami, and Owens runs through the crowd because the Bloodline was starting to regroup. So Owens took off. And the way that Heyman looked at Sami Zayn, I mean, this just looked like more of a look than hell to pay. Like, Paul Heyman is questioning Sami's motives now more than ever. Go back to the end of this segment of the night. The way that Paul Heyman is looking at Sami Zayn after he was late saving Roman, that's not a good look. You thought he was in the doghouse before. You thought he was in trouble before. Something big is happening for the Royal Rumble, guys. I think the biggest thing would be Montreal, February, when Elimination Chamber pay-per-view premium live event is in Sami's hometown of Montreal. That's going to be the biggest part of the story, I understand, but something massive is happening at the Rumble. You can just tell, man. This was that cliffhanger where that look alone, you got to see the punishment next. Because Sami is in it now, man. And that was your SmackDown for 1/20/23. Very tournament heavy. I'd be okay with that if I cared about the teams more. So maybe it's a sitch where this tournament will make us care more about the teams, BC, but that wasn't the case. Most of these tag matches were just about 3 minutes, minus the Sheamus and Drew McIntyre match with the Viking Raiders. That was actually lengthy, but most of them were about 3 minutes, ending with roll-ups, things like that. So no, this was absolutely filler still. It's easy, but I mean, I think they're putting all their juices right now into the Bloodline. And luckily, Bray Wyatt is just doing his own shit and probably being signed off on it. But eventually, when this ship is running full steam ahead, you're going to have several good storylines going at once. And that's when you're going to have a show that is capable of 3.5 million viewers again. I'm not talking out of my ass. I'm serious. If you can get 2 to 3 more storylines to help out Roman and Sami, the whole Bloodline, and Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, if you can get 3 to 4 storylines every single show, I mean, I'm not saying we're ever going to be Attitude Era again, but we're off to the races. I mean, it shows you that they know the formula. You know, it's just about, do you have enough people that care and are good at their jobs? But SmackDown right now is carrying the wrestling world on its back. How long can they do that? I don't know. But for now, we're going to enjoy the fuck out of that shit going into Royal Rumble. BC has a flight to catch. To my gold team. I can't do a roll call because I used the fucking roll call time to talk more about the show. So I know you guys will understand that. My gold members, my unit members, channel members. But you guys are the fucking best. I've compiled a list for editing in future videos already, by the way. So you guys will get fucking the utmost of shout outs in the future. All my gold team, much love and respect. Even if you're not gold, my red team as well. Gold team just shows that next level of support and love and respect. So always make sure that they're top notch. But my red team, every single person that just smashes that up, totally free. Smash that up, help the algorithm. You guys, you fucking rock. And I want all of you to crush the weekend out. I'll be back with you guys fucking Tuesday for the review of Monday Night Raw. And maybe even Monday night. Maybe I can do the first hour of Raw 30 live if I'm back soon enough. It depends how this business trip goes. So, BC, for now, top guy saying check you. BC saying salute.